This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
Today, we're diving into a story that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a movie. It's a story about survival, desperation, and a journey that pushes the absolute limits of what a human being can endure. It's pretty incredible. This quote it really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It sets up this huge contrast between this hopeful dream and the absolutely brutal reality of the choice someone felt they had to make.
So, let's go to Kabul. Our story centers on a 13-year-old boy. And like a lot of kids, he had a dream for a different life. But the way he decided to chase it, well, that's where this story takes a turn you won't believe.
He didn't have a ticket. He didn't go through the gate. He snuck onto the tarmac and climbed into the compartment where the landing gear goes. I mean, think about that. This isn't a cabin. It's a cold metal box, totally exposed to the elements, with zero features to support human life.
And what happened next was a 94-minute flight that, by every law of science and biology, should have been deadly. Let's really break down just how impossible this journey was.
So as the plane climbed, it hit its cruising altitude, about 36,000 feet up. For us, in the cabin, it's nothing. But for him, outside, this is where the air gets terrifyingly thin. This is where the real nightmare begins. On top of that, the temperature just plummets. We're talking an estimated minus 50 degrees Celsius. I mean, that is so cold, it's hard to even imagine. It's the kind of cold that can freeze your skin in minutes and makes every single breath feel like you're inhaling needles.
And it wasn't just one thing, it was everything, all at once. The oxygen levels were so low he should have passed out. The noise from the engines would have been this constant, deafening roar. The whole time he's being shaken violently. And then, once the wheels were up, he was thrown into complete, terrifying darkness.
Which brings us to the big, unbelievable question. How? How did a 13-year-old kid survive this? How did he not freeze or suffocate or simply lose his grip and fall? How is this even possible?
You talk to any aviation expert and they'll tell you the same thing. Surviving this is basically a statistical impossibility. It just doesn't happen. And the tragic reality is, many others who've tried this have not made it.
But he did. He survived. And when the plane finally landed, the story somehow got even stranger.
So after 94 minutes in that flying tomb, the landing gear doors opened again. Can you imagine being the airport staff in Delhi? You're just doing a job and suddenly you see this small, pale kid just wandering on the tarmac, totally dazed and confused.
And here's the real kicker. He wasn't even trying to get to India. He thought he was on a plane to Iran. He had gambled his life on the wrong plane. His desperate escape had taken him to a country he never intended to go to.
And in the middle of all this chaos, this impossible survival, this international incident, there's this one tiny human detail. The only thing he had on him, the only possession he carried through that entire ordeal, was a small red speaker.
Well, what happened next was surprisingly quick. After short investigation, the authorities in India put him on a flight right back to Kabul that same day. But this time, he had a seat, a regular passenger. It's such a jarringly normal end to a story that was anything but.
You know, it is so easy to get caught up in the wow factor of this survival story. But if we stop there, we're missing the entire point. This story is actually a huge, uncomfortable slap to reality.
We have to look past the headline. This is not just a story about a miracle. It's a story about the kind of deep pain and despair that could make a child believe that hiding in a wheel well is their best or maybe their only option.
And that forces us to ask some really tough questions, right, about responsibility. For a child to get to this point, to feel so alone that he slips through the cracks and takes a risk like this, it means that somewhere along the line, he was invisible. His pain went unseen.
So, after hearing all this, what are we supposed to take away from it? Well, there's a final lesson here, and I think it's one that applies to every single one of us.
The big lesson here is not to celebrate this as some kind of heroic feat. It's to understand that no dream, no matter how important it feels, is worth your life. And trying to escape pain by walking a dangerous road, all by yourself, is never, ever the answer.
And for anyone out there who might feel that kind of desperation, the message from this is actually incredibly simple, but it's vital. First, ask. Then, ask for help. And finally, speak up. You don't have to carry it all alone.
But this isn't just for those who are struggling. This is a call to action for all of us.
For every adult, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a neighbor, a friend, if you see a kid who seems lost or is drowning in despair, please don't just look away. Don't assume somebody else will step in. Because what this story really teaches us in the most dramatic way possible is that sometimes the smallest act of connection can change everything. A single word, a simple question, at just the right moment, it might be enough to save a whole life.